All right, welcome back to the indoor facility here at Clemson. We are going to give you our preview and predictions for Texas A&M game, huge game, ESPN game day will be there Saturday, primetime game, huge atmosphere, just normal, typical road game for Clemson the last couple of years. Gavin, I'm going to start with you. What's your key to Clemson going in there and coming away with a victory?
For Clemson, my key to the game is going into Kyle Field and getting off to a good start. There's going to be 110,000 people there. They're going to be pumped up. They're going to be excited, thinking their team has a great chance to win the game. And if Clemson, if you're on defense to start the game, get a 3 and out. If you're on offense, don't go 3 and out. I mean, you don't want to turn the ball over early. You don't want to make mistakes that allow the team to get the mojo going, allow the fans to stay in it and be loud. And I mean, because that's when things can spiral out of control early, especially early. If one bad thing happens, the crowd's into it, then things can kind of snowball. So for me, getting off to a good start's the key. If you can quiet the crowd early and get into a groove, and then I think Clemson will be able to take care of business pretty handily.
Clemson did that well when they went on the road last year in the big environments. Will, what's your key to victory?
Well, I think what's going to happen if Clemson wins the coin toss, they're putting their defense on the field, because I think the defense has got to set the tone in this game. I think Dabo knows that. What better way to shut up a home crowd than a 3 and out? You know, I mean, the next best thing is scoring a touchdown. I think you saw Clemson do that against Louisville last year.
Now, is he doing that because Trevor's going to get the first series in the second half?
I don't know why he'd be doing that, but other than the fact to just get the crowd out of the game immediately and let them know your defense came to play, and it's going to be a long day for those guys, because they racked up 500 rushing yards last week in their opening game. Everybody talked about, Dabo in this press conference this week talked about, you know, how great of a running team they are, and they got this super dynamic quarterback. And I know Dabo, he's telling his team that. He's telling that defense that because he's challenging them. You know, so, hey, look, they rushed for 500 yards this week, so you guys going to stop them and maybe make them have 0 yards, so their average only goes down to 250 yards a game? You know, and so I think that's the challenge.
Will's calling for 0 yards rushing.
I didn't call for 0 yards rushing, but I'm just saying I think the challenging, that's why Dabo brought that up. I think he's challenging that defense this week to go in there and shut them down. And so, and let's be honest, we watched some of the game last week. Texas A&M looked a lot like Florida State in some ways last week, and I think they're going to, old Florida State I should say, they're going to run that same Jimbo Fisher-style offense, pro-style offense and all. And Clemson usually does well against those kinds of offenses as long as there's not a guy back there who now plays in the NFL running the football. He's the only one that really could have that did well against Clemson generally, that kind of offense. So I like the way this defense looks, like the way they looked last week, their attitude. I think they're going to come out and try to set the tempo.
I'm glad you clarified that, because I thought you were comparing them to the Florida State team we saw last night, and much different. I would like to play that team, though. My key to the game is going to be to keep the chemistry on offense. We now know, Dabo's made it real clear, we knew it back in the spring, but now everybody knows it, that they're going to play 2 quarterbacks. So my big thing is to keep that chemistry going and keep the offense moving, even though you maybe have one series where you got Kelly in, the next series you got Trevor in, and a couple other series later you're putting Kelly back in. We want to see a consistency of success from the offense. I think Clemson's, they're not possibly going to have to score some points this week. I don't think they're going to be able to win the game. I think Texas A&M will get on the board a little bit, even though we'll probably say maybe not. But I think they'll get some points, especially since it's on the road. So Clemson needs to get the offense moving. Hopefully we'll see that. Hopefully we'll see both quarterbacks play well, and we can continue to see that moving forward. All right, now we got to go on the limb and give our predictions. Gavin, I'm going to give you first shot this week. What's your prediction?
All right, before I give the score prediction, I just want to say here's the way I see it. So Clemson's defensive line versus Texas A&M offensive line. Texas A&M offensive line has 3, correct me if I'm mistaken, but 3 sophomores on the offensive line, including 2 sophomore offensive tackles going up against 4 future pros on Clemson's defensive line. I think Texas A&M is going to have a hard time putting together scoring drives consistently. I think I have a couple big sacks last week. I think Clemson's defensive line is going to tee off on that offensive line this week and really get after the quarterbacks. Third quarter, heading into the fourth, I'm saying it's going to be something like 24-17. Texas A&M is hanging around, and it's still somewhat in the balance. Then Clemson gets a late score, wins it 31-17 final.
So you're saying 24-17 in the third quarter?
heading into the fourth.
Heading into the
Gets
fourth.
Score 31-17.
So I'm gonna be sweating. All right, Will, what's your prediction?
You're not going to be sweating.
I'm like it.
I think I agree with Gavin though. I think their offensive line is going to be the key matchup in this game, and I like Clemson's chances a lot to dominate. And they're going to put the game in the hands of that quarterback. And though he's talented, and I think as he gets along through the season and he gets away from playing Clemson and Alabama, he's going to do some good things. But right now, I don't think he's there yet to that point to face that kind of defense and have to put the game in his hands to win the game. And I like Clemson's matchup in that. Clemson's going to shut the running game down. They're going to make them have to throw the football to win it, and that's not going to happen. They just don't have. They don't have the quarterback yet to do that against Clemson, at least I think. So I think this game's going to be like it was last year against Louisville, like it was last year against Virginia Tech. It's going to be over at halftime. It's just a matter of what the final score is going to be in the second half. Yeah, and which is the question. And I've said this from preseason on. I think this offense averages 40 points every game. I think they're that dynamic. I think they're that good. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is when they're playing teams right now. And I'm going to say Clemson 42, Texas A&M 17.
42-17. Both y'all guys had 17?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So I can't go with 17.
Well, you can, just not the first score.
I think it's going to be similar to what we saw Saturday a little bit. I think it's going to take a little bit of time for the Clemson offense to get going. Some of that may be dependent on how long they leave Brian in versus when they put Lawrence in. So I think, similar in some ways to what you said, Gavin. I think it's going to be a fairly close game. I don't think it's going to be close going into the fourth quarter. Hopefully it'll be close maybe going in the second quarter. Clemson pulls away a little bit. I don't know that Clemson's going to get in the 40s. I'm going to go with something like Clemson 38, and I'm going to give I can't go 17, so I'm going to give Texas A&M 21. So I'll take a 17-point victory. I'll take any of these scores, although I like the higher margins a little better, so I'm on the field and don't have to be stressed about the outcome of the game. But huge game, one of the biggest games of the year, as everybody knows, as Clemson tries to march their way on to Santa Clara. Stay tuned to TCI. We got tons of coverage headed your way all weekend from Texas, and should be some fun videos, threads on the board. Make sure you visit The Rock. You'll find out kind of what we're doing and how we're enjoying our trip, and have everything covered for you. And we'll have these two guys working all day in the car on the way back Sunday. So tons of coverage. Stay tuned to TCI for the most complete coverage of Clemson